What is up, everybody? It's Captain Zeus back with another movie review, and today's movie review is going to be on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. This is a brand new movie that just released last night that I got to see, so spoiler warning for those of you that haven't seen it, you have been warned. Now, this movie is probably James Gunn's best work. I'm just gonna say that right off the bat. It is extremely sad. It is an emotional roller coaster. Everything with that you believed from the trailer is not what it seems whatsoever. This movie starts off very sad. Like, it gives you a sad mood, sad tone. Basically, I mean, Star-Lord's very depressed over the whole Gamora situation from Endgame. For those of you that don't remember, Gamora died and her past self came back to the main timeline, but she doesn't remember anything that happened from her future self, so she's just kind of there. And apparently she joined the Ravagers, which that's pretty cool. The Guardians now essentially own nowhere and they all live there, which is also freaking cool. And they can, later on you find out that they can pilot the dead Celestial's head, which is, and there's a giant gun in its eye, which is just nuts, just absolutely nuts. Adam Warlock makes one of the coolest, entries in probably Guardians history. I don't know. I wouldn't say MCU history because Winter Soldier kind of tops the cake with it, in my opinion. But Adam Warlock pops in fresh out of the cocoon. He is a baby, just doing what he's told, and he just beats the living crap out of the Guardians. Shows how OP he is. And if you don't know, in the comics, Adam Warlock's actually ridiculously OP. He was created to wield the Infinity Gauntlet. I mean, it also depends on what iteration you're going by, but I mean that's the gist. He's extremely overpowered. And you see that as he's the reason why Rocket's in essentially a coma fighting for his life. And the whole crew gets together. Star-Lord snaps out of his depression to go save his best friend. And the whole movie is essentially flashbacks of Rocket's past as we learn how sad and depressing it was for him to grow up and be created by the High Evolutionary, as well as we see Peter and the gang try to save him as best as they can. We get to see some hilarious moments when they go to the Orgoscope with like Nathan Fillion and everybody. The interactions with Drax and Mantis is always top notch. Honestly, I freaking love those characters. I love their dynamic. And it's one of the best things I love about James Gunn's movies is that they're always funny, but it's never forced. I never feel like any of the comedy is forced. It's always natural. Like, heck, some of the stuff they say, I might say, just maybe not as funny and as well delivered. But yeah, I mean, once they get Gamora, by the way, who helps them go to the Orgoscope, and then from there on, she's kind of just like tags along forcefully as they learn like, oh, this isn't gonna go well, and they go to Counter Earth, which they find out how High Evolutionary made a completely whole planet for this species that he's trying to make as the perfect civilization, which is essentially just modern day Earth with just human-sized animals, and I mean, it's not a perfect society, and because of that, he literally leaves, but his ship's like embedded into the planet, so when he leaves, the planet's like blows up, which is crazy, which kills like Adam Warlock's mother, causing him to go like, what the frick? And then it just causes so much destruction. Like, there were so many times I thought these characters were gonna die. I'm not even kidding. I thought these characters all were gonna die at some point. I thought Drax was dying. I thought Rocket was dying for sure. I even thought Nebula was gonna die. I mean, later on, I thought Peter was gonna die, and we'll get to that in a bit. But they honestly, okay, they track down Peter. They track down the High Evolutionary with Nebula, Mantis, and Drax are stuck on the ship. Peter saves Rocket with the code to help like save him with Gamora and Groot. They go and to rescue Nebula and them to find out like there's a crap ton of kids and animals that he's just testing on, and so they go to save him, and that's where we get Nowhere is being controlled by the Guardians, is apparently a flying ship with a gun in its freaking eye, a quadruple barrel gun, which is literally the craziest thing I've ever heard of in MCU history. Like, what the frick? And then they save the kids. High Evolutionary. Oh, dude. Honestly, I just can't like wrap my head around how dope he was. Like, he literally was on the brink of insanity just to get Rocket, because Rocket was the key to his perfect society. And everyone around him was like, dude, you need to chill out. And he kills everyone around him so he can achieve his goal. Like, that's badass. Honestly. Thanos would have just been like, you're going to bow down and do what I say. And they're like, fine, I'll do what you say. But now he's just like, I don't care what you think. I'm going to do what I want. And just kills them all. And then we see like what happened to Rocket. Like, essentially, he was like, once High Evolutionary figured out, like, oh, your batch was the one, but we're not gonna like use you anymore. We're gonna scrap you and use your formula to like do the second wave of perfect society. I don't know what I really wasn't. I was just too in depth on like the sadness of the story, to be honest. And then he goes to break out his friends, and High Evolutionary literally kills one of his friends right in front of him. And then Rocket goes to literally tears the crap out of the High Evolutionary's face. Like, it is just gone. And then the High Evolutionary's goons come and go to shoot him, but they miss, and they shoot his friends behind him as he kills them, and then he escapes. And I'm like, yo, what? Could this get any sadder? And then that's when we find out, after Peter and the gang save all the kids, he goes back for his little cassette tape thing, and as he's leaving, he gets hit by debris, and he's getting suffocated from space. And I'm like, yo, Peter's dying right here, no freaking way. But then Adam Warlock comes in and saves him. I'm like, yo, what the frick? And so he saves him, and then they have a whole little talk about, hey, you know, I'm gonna go back to Earth. Peter's like, I'm gonna go back to Earth to go stay with my granddad and just, you know, kind of be native, which is like obviously a hint to him joining the Avengers, which is gonna be dope. And then Nebula and Drax are like, we're gonna stay here and raise these kids and have a whole society inside nowhere, which I'm like, that's dope. Mantis is like, I'm just gonna go do my own thing with these big old blob creatures that we fought in the second movie. And Rocket's like, what about me? And they're like, you're in charge. You're the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy now. And so he has this new group of Guardians of the Galaxy with him, Groot, one of the kids he saved, Cosmo the dog, which I thought was a guy but is a girl, super adorable dog, Yondu's freaking predecessor, I don't know what the guy's name is, Sean Gunn, it's the, you know what I'm saying? And then we have Adam Warlock joining, which is super cool. I'm glad they didn't keep him as a villain. I'm glad they kept him as a hero. And that's like going to be a dope group. That's going to be a dope iteration of the Guardians of the Galaxy, which we probably won't see till after Kang Dynasty, to be honest, or at least till 2025, 2026. But honestly, dude, this movie was an emotional roller coaster. I know I'm probably just sound like I'm rambling because I literally just got done seeing it. I'm just giving you my first thoughts right now. I'm not even collecting it. No notes, no nothing. Just all raw thoughts, raw dog in the thoughts. And dude, this was a 10 out of 10 for me. And in terms of a movie, like, it didn't, not a lot of time passed, it felt. Like, the movie all took place, like, minute to minute kind of thing. It's only, like, 2 hour, 45-minute movie. And I would recommend this to any Marvel fan. Like, this gives me hope for the MCU, but it also takes away my hope. Because this gives me hope because I'm like, James Gunn made such an amazing entry to the MCU franchise that this movie is great. This is what Phase 4 needed, or Phase 5, whatever phase we're in. But then it's sad because James Gunn's not doing any more Marvel movies. He's now in charge of DC Studios. So that recipe we're not going to see in Marvel anymore. Whoever's going to do the next iteration of the Guardians movies, that's going to be a really, really hard follow-up to do after Guardians 3. And now anyone that's a naysayer of DC Studios and James Gunn's lead can't say anything because we've seen him make comedies, we've seen him make horror with Brightburn, and we've seen him make super sad stories. Like, this guy can do it all. Like, this is obviously a lot of hope for the Superman Legacy movie he's writing and directing. I'm super excited for that movie, but man, I don't know how Marvel's going to follow this up, to be honest. This was an amazing entry into the MCU. I need to see more of this type of content. And the CGI for this movie was phenomenal. It did not look garbage at all. All of the CGI was perfect. I swear, it looked so lifelike. It was so good. I don't know what James did to get that level of CGI, but I need more of that for the MCU and the DCU for that matter. And as well as the soundtrack was amazing. It definitely fit the mood perfectly. The feels were hit. Like, oh my gosh. James Gunn outdid himself in this movie. I know I'm just saying a bunch of positives. I don't have a single negative for this movie. I'll be completely honest. I mean, if I think about it, maybe, the only thing is maybe I'm upset that no one actually died. In the end, everybody lived. They just split and went separate ways. I think it would have been better if we had someone actually die. I don't know. That's just me personally. I think it would have been a little bit more impactful because now there's obviously hope for these characters to come back, but that's just me. What did you guys think of the movie? Let me know in the comments below. I know this review is probably like the worst I've ever done. It is just nothing but rambles and rambles, but this was an amazing movie. I would see this again in theaters in a heartbeat. I could go see it right now and I would not have any complaints. I don't care how much money I drop. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the review as well. And don't forget to check out the rest of my videos and go to my other channel, BP Fun, for more reviews and nerdy content like this. I'm Captain Zeus, and I hope you guys have an amazing day. See you in the next video. See ya.